using cash to a more of a cash flow method, and proactive resale is added to that instead of holding on to vehicles past their useful life. So I know that's a lot. I know you guys are just having a chance to kind of digest this information, but the last thing I'll say before I pause for questions is the units on the on the bottom left there that say sale leaseback. The way that that essentially works is we will pay the town a set amount of cash, and you see that in the capitalized price area. So that is actually a cash influx back to the town, and then we will essentially lease that vehicle back to you. So you get the cash influx, then you have a monthly payment tied to that vehicle, but it's not necessarily a sale, if you will. You guys get the cash influx up front, and then on the back end, whenever it's time to sell that vehicle for its replacement, the town gets the benefit of the resale at that point as well. So it really just allows you to kind of jumpstart getting into this program where you're taking advantage of better cash flow and combining that with that proactive resale. And I'll kind of pause there for any questions.
And just for the council's information, I've met with Chad several times, met with Chad's predecessor several times. And
I'm not sure if you guys are talking to me or not, but everyone's on mute. I just wanted to throw that out there.
Sorry, I was just saying that I've met with you several times and with your predecessor several times. Nathan have also met with you and Jeremy before, so we've been over everything multiple times. And
Caleb and I.
That's right.
With the presentation.
You and I think Pat even met with Jeremy.
When Lucas was here, I think, maybe.
I think you, me, and Zach were supposed to meet with him, and Zach couldn't make it.
Maybe that's what it was.
Me,
that's what
yeah.
it was. You're right.
So what is our total monthly payout? Are we talking about all 15 of these vehicles being replaced? Or just the top 7?
The top 7 would be new vehicles, and then the bottom ones are ones we currently have, and we would keep those, and they would just be rolled into the enterprise program.
Rolled into the enterprise program, but I'm saying total monthly. There's a column over here, and this has dollar figures. And so what's that total that we're paying monthly for the vehicles?
It'd be $146,994.69 divided by 12.
Yeah. Well, that's the, yes, that's right. And so we've got the breakdown in each department. So, the police department's got that $48,000 for 6 months, and that's how we've broken it down in every department, is by 6 months. So, water department's got the same breakdown, and even recreation, we put a vehicle in there because one of those vehicles is Jerry's pickup truck. So, yeah, they've all got the yearly costs listed in there and broken out.
Well, this is term 48 months. So, for example, the very last Tahoe, where it says capitalized price, when we go to sell it, we're going to get $48,534.90 back. Is that what he said? Capitalized price is the sellback price.
Chad, is capitalized price the resale price, or is that the current value that you all are placing on the vehicle?
It's current value.
So the capitalized price for those first 7 is going to be the actual manufacturer's invoice price. Obviously, once the payments pull through, then that will be calculated in there. For the sale leaseback ones, that's actually the amount of cash that the town would be getting via a cash influx through the sale leaseback.
So I think maybe what Tanya was asking was the estimated value at term is in one of those far right columns. That would be what we would get when we go to sell the vehicle.
Absolutely, yeah. So if you're looking at that far right column there, the 151,000. So You've got your unpaid principal at term, because I mentioned before, this is just simply a finance to a residual, not necessarily a lease. So that unpaid principal compared to your estimated value at term, the net of those two is your estimated equity. And if you extrapolate that over the vehicles that are there, it's about $151,000.
So it's financed over 48 months or 36 months, but that's not necessarily the full term that we go to. If Enterprise realizes that we can sell it sooner for a higher value, they'll call us and tell us we're going to sell it and give you a new vehicle, and we'll swap it out, because they're watching what the going rates are for those different vehicles to see when they can get the most for it, which gets us the most for it. And
Okay.
Yeah, and then conversely with that as well, say we get to the end of that 48th month and we're in a down economy, or the resale market is not as hot, we may recommend that you actually extend that vehicle out another 12 months or keep it in service another year or two. At that point, you will have paid it off, and it's very just like owning a vehicle today, right? But you have the ability to extend or short cycle these vehicles at no penalty at any time.
I think in the presentation I was in, you had several businesses or government agencies in our area who use your service. Could you maybe mention a few of those? Did he hear me?
I could
Yeah, I'm
you
probably
hear
on
that?
mute.
I couldn't
He
hear
was
him.
asking about references, so I know Bessemer City and Lincolnton. Who else? Oh yeah, City of Shelby, their patrol vehicles.
Yeah. Yep, so City of Shelby, and then I'm thinking on your side of the state, obviously Lincolnton's a great contact over there. Cleveland County Schools works with us. Jackson County Schools, Stokes County. We just partnered. Town of Forest City's not too far away from you guys. That's another one of our clients. So there's several over there on y'all side of the state.
And I've talked to Lincolnton, Cleveland County Schools, City of Shelby, and Bessemer City, and they all had positive things to say about the program.
Are we still going to keep our maintenance local?
Yes, so we were able to use local auto shops to do what is hopefully just oil changes. Hopefully everything's, if there's a warranty problem, we take it to the dealership, but yeah.
But they would pay the bill.
We have the option, I think, to set it up either way, Chad. So we pay the local dealership to do or the local auto repair place to do an oil change, or it's handled through Enterprise, and you all, or I guess the local place bills you for the cost of it. So we can set it up either way.
Correct, yeah. So if you go to one of the shops that's on the Enterprise program, very easy. We negotiate the cost of parts and labor on your behalf, make sure what's being done is actually needed to be done and that it's done at a fair price. And then we actually pay that shop directly. You guys have one consolidated invoice. And then through our reporting system, you'll be able to see every repair that was done for any vehicle on the program. You can obviously have, for the life of the partnership, that data will be available to you. We also send notifications for things like state inspections, oil changes, and other preventative maintenance and things of that nature. So, the maintenance program, I've got some clients that use it. I've got others that continue to use in-house shops, or if maybe there's a local guy that does a good job for them. So you have the ability to make those decisions, on this partnership, whether to do maintenance yourself, whether to use our program, is completely up to you.
Makes budgeting easier, correct?
Correct. Yeah, it's a more consistent cost, because we're not saying, well, we need 3 cars this year, 1 car this year, 2 cars this year. Yeah. And then it hopefully decreases those maintenance costs, and then those are at a minimum and can be budgeted for every year too.
I like it myself. I think it's something we should do. At least give it a shot. They're in the business of buying them. They're in the business of selling them. They've got a market. They know, like you say, they know when that market's up, and maybe they call and say, hey, you got a Tahoe that's going off lease next, but that thing will bring a premium right now. Let's sell that vehicle and get you a new one. They're doing all that without our guys or without anybody here having to, we can't do that. We can't stay on top of that the way that they have the ability to do. Which shifts that burden to somebody else. But at the same time allows us to keep good, reliable vehicles. I'm for it.
I think it looks good.
I'm good with it.
I'm not good with it.
Not good with it based on the type of vehicle. I think there's
I think there's a more fuel efficient option, and I think there's a better patrol version. And just because it's not available right now doesn't mean that we don't explore that. Other than that, I think it would help to be able to offset some of the costs.
Well, I think we've still got some time before the budget's adopted and finalized, and then before we would even, finalize this agreement with Enterprise, which we wouldn't do until you all approve the budget. So, this, there's not approval of this spreadsheet with this list here. It's just approval of moving forward with Enterprise, and then we'll finalize the contract and everything and bring back to you all. So, if Order Bank's open sooner than we think, and there's more options out there, we can definitely bring that back to you all in the final agreement and have that for approval.
There was some discussion about the garbage truck.
Yes.
What happened with that?
Well, this will be right up your alley, Tommy. So with the garbage truck and the new dump truck and the, what was the other one?
Crane truck.
And the crane truck that the sewer department's using. The capitalized price was lower than what we still had on the books for them. So from an accounting perspective, we would have had a pretty big loss, mainly due to depreciation. Tell me if I'm explaining something wrong. Yeah, lack of depreciation. So we could have still included that, but the numbers didn't look right. And so our thinking was we could implement the program with these vehicles, and next year, if things started to look better based on how much we'd paid off and how much the book price looked like, then we could still enter them into the program. But
Well, I mean, I'm okay with that. I knew that was just something we did discuss
yeah.
when we met with them.
Yeah, I mean, it's still an option, but it was a little wonky. Basically, we're still leasing the garbage truck, so we would be paying off the lease or leasing twice, or
Not exactly sure.
yeah, we weren't exactly sure. So we thought it best to wait on those vehicles at least for a year or so. And we still got, I think, a 5-year warranty total on the garbage truck. 10 on the transmission. So we've still got some time if we wanted to include it.
That's fine. I just knew that was one of the items we didn't discuss.
As far as the police vehicles go, you still get everything you need equipment-wise.
Yeah, they'll be sent to the same upfitter and all of
Okay.
that.
Okay.
So if you all are good with the numbers, we'll bring that final agreement and contract back to you all for approval after the budget's approved and we get everything worked out with Enterprise.
I would like a little more explanation on that maintenance piece.
Okay.
I'm not clear on that.
On the managed maintenance or the maintenance that we would just do ourselves and how it runs through?
Both,
Okay.
the comparison of the two.
Okay. From a cost perspective or?
Yes, just general information and cost perspective.
Okay. Chad, do you want to speak to that? Did you hear him?
I caught a piece of it. Could you give me the high level of what it was?
He's just basically wondering about the difference between the managed maintenance versus just us doing it ourselves, and kind of what those two programs look like and what some overlaps and differences might be.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and you'll notice on that page there's two different sections for maintenance. Kind of those top 4 vehicles have a full maintenance line item, and the ones next to it have a maintenance management. So the full maintenance piece, anything that is non-pursuit related, we can actually fix the maintenance on that for the entire term. So you basically have all of your preventative maintenance, all of your unscheduled maintenance. Even if we have to rebuild an engine, replace it in or out of a warranty, Enterprise is on the hook for that. So that really turns a variable expense into a fixed cost, and we can do that on any of just the normal, pickup trucks, sedans, things that aren't police related. So with that program, on your behalf, you go into the shops. The drivers don't know any different. They're just using a maintenance program. They go into the shop. They basically show the maintenance card, and then our team of national certified technicians will walk them through and do everything that needs to be done. The one next to it, the $6 a month one, is just a strict pass-through, and like I said before, we're negotiating on your behalf, paying the shop directly. You're going to get all of our national account pricing at, if there's any like Firestones and things like that, but we also have mom and pop shops on there, there's dealerships on there, and all of that information feeds into our reporting system, which then again, the more data that we collect, we're able to make better recommendations for you guys moving forward. So the biggest advantages are going to be just that, right? So keeping a really good track of what's going on from the repair and maintenance side of things, and just utilizing our economies of scale to leverage us for savings is what it's going to be. If you're interested in seeing kind of a comparison on it, what I like to usually offer up is if you guys can pull a recent repair order that you've had at a shop that I'd typically say if it's $1,000 or more, send it to us and I can run it up through our national service department, and they'll basically quote it like for like. You can pull the cost off of it, run the different part numbers, and then you guys can see what it would have come out through our program versus just doing it yourself.
Okay. I understand. But I have national account shops in Boiling Springs that I'm aware of.
So they can,
But he'd be willing to come into the shop and see if he could if somebody we liked.
Right.
I think he said in that presentation that they would be willing to go and talk to them about coming on board.
that's correct, right, Chad? You can
correct?
pretty much set up any shop, as long as the shop.
Yeah, and what they'll- Exactly, and what they'll do is they'll look at it and say, okay, there's X amount of shops, but it's the additional process is very easy. It doesn't cost the shop anything to get on. It actually drives business for the shop, because anybody who's then driving through Rolling Springs that's a fleet client will then be able to see that shop on the mobile app, and it actually drive business for the community. So if we can get shops added, if there's not one on there, but if there's one that you guys like that isn't currently on our program, we can very easily get them added.
Do you all pay for the signage on the side of those shops? No, just kidding.
I don't know about that. I don't know if there's any signage that goes into it.
Does that answer your question, Mr. Litton?
Yes.
So any other questions for Mr. Elbert? I'll turn him loose otherwise. Okay. All right. Thanks, Chad.
Awesome. Thank you guys for having me tonight. I really do appreciate the opportunity, and we'll look forward to working with you. Thank you guys so much.
Have a good night.
You too.
So if we jump back into page 3 of the budget, which is still the police department, wanted to jump down to the next box on there, which was the 2 radar signs, and, I'm sorry, the box where Enterprise is has got the 2 license plate reader cameras that are in there. So with those, we had 4 budgeted last time. We took that down to 2 LPRs, license plate readers. We found out, I don't remember which state agency it is, Chief, but there's a state agency that actually will loan out license plate reader cameras. So our thought was to get, I think 2 we could get from them.
September.
Yeah, get 2 of them in the September timeframe, put them up, see how effective they are. I'm not sure how long we get to borrow them for, but borrow them for the month or whatever that we get to. If they're effective, we've got 2 in the budget that we can add, and then we can look at adding 2 more in next year's budget. But if they're not effective, then we reappropriate that money and don't spend it on those. But it gives us a way to try it out and see the effectiveness before we purchase them. I think our recommendation is to still leave them in there. We've had a couple incidences in the past couple of months that would have helped, having them at the stoplight with somebody breaking into the Dollar General that then headed down this way, and some other break-ins and things that could have yielded some results. So again, a good way to kind of try it out and see if our theory is correct, and then move forward with the purchase.
So we'll be able to try them out with no cost? Oh,
We're gonna license theft, have some that circulate around the state,
okay.
so you can try it as a mobile LPR.
Okay.
But they're, like I said, they're making their way across the state, so could be September, October.
Neat.
I think the city of Shelby is looking to implement some as well, so we can also get some feedback from them.
Do we know how long these cameras have been around?
We haven't tried it, did you?
Yeah, I mean, I've known about them for at least 5 or 6 years, but
Okay,
That's
so they're
longer
just
than
kind
that.
of starting to,
I'd say they've been around longer than that, but I'm just not familiar with them beyond that time frame.
But again, nobody in Cleveland County uses that type of technology. You're saying Shelby's looking at it. Shelby's a population of 23,000 people. It's 12 mile, what's the radius? I mean, it's a large city. We're a 1 square mile town. And, if we're serious about using technology to solve crime, there was break-ins in my neighborhood where there's video and pictures of a girl, and that's not even posted on our public media from the town. And now we have this compelling interest. I mean, why was that not shared on the town's public website to say, hey, here's the person that's breaking into cars. Do you know this person? And you're asking me as a citizen now to put, potentially it was $10,000 a year, but now you're saying $5,000 a year, and the state's going to loan us stuff. What's the compelling interest again? I mean, we've got plenty of ring technology, got cameras and stuff, but if we don't use the technology that we currently have, I mean, what good is it?
I think that technology's been reviewed, and that's part of the issue, is that they haven't been able to get any good IDs off of those existing technologies, so this would be something that's designed specifically to kind of capture that.
But they haven't tried to put it out on social media either, so.
And the effectiveness, if we put the LPRs up at no cost, then we measure the effectiveness and we see if there's a compelling interest.
exactly.
Then we don't move forward with it, but if we're able to catch
It
something.
was a Dollar General incident, there's 20 or 30 more across this part of the state of South Carolina. Same MO, they went to the stoplight, and nobody has any leads whatsoever on who they are. That would put us, at least that can possibly solve many crimes, not just ours.
I don't see how, we don't have anything to lose. I mean, we put them up for however long they'll let us put them up and see what we got, then we decide.